That's one thing about antelope. I love antelope meat and I love antelope hunting, but because it's in September, elk's going on,
Right.
and so it's not
challenging.
as much of a. Used to be, years ago, started August 15th,
Right.
and you can go hunt antelope before elk season.
Right.
But when they changed it, in that, especially the draw that we put in for starts in the middle of September, or close to the middle of September.
Right.
So it's just getting time to hunt elk.
I know. That's always that's the downfall of that antelope.
So
hunt
I
that we
usually
do.
just give it a couple days.
Right.
And fortunately, I've been pretty lucky to get it done. Sometimes it takes longer. But
Right.
I remember years ago when I was telling you, talked about me hunting, 10, 14 days. I wouldn't even leave. I might go out before the 20th and for a couple days. But when I was going to be serious and going to be gone, like my 10-day hunt, I'd call it, it would be, I'd usually leave right around the 20th September. And I figured by then everyone, the weekend warriors,
Exactly.
or the guys who had vacation took their vacation or whatever. And I cannot tell you how many elk I was fortunate enough to get within the first day or so with nobody around.
Right.
It's not, there's a lot more hunters out there now,
A fact. That's a fact.
but it is what it is. You just got to
Right.
learn to work around it. And
Yeah. I mean, we all have the right to be there, and
Right.
a lot of people enjoy that. And I think even now, with the whole COVID thing that's happened over the last 2 years, I feel like
more.
I feel like there's more hunters.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know any stats on that stuff, but
Idaho did change their non-resident tag, not the whole quota, but on they taken the quotas in each unit and changed them so there's less non-residents. And the way I look at it, I know people may disagree with this, but let's face it. I mean, no matter what state you're in, for the most part, especially out west here, these states rely on non-resident funds to help manage wildlife.
right.
And it's a lot of times a big portion to pay for wages or habitat or whatever.
Right.
So it is what it is. And I mean,
Right.
I feel lucky that we can just still go hunt every year.
Right.
And at this point,
And I do feel like, well, two things. One, I feel like you can get away from the crowds if you
Yeah.
want to work hard enough. And
Yeah.
we're, not young anymore, but we still have the ability to do that. And
Get
we
it
do
done.
do that. It is getting harder. I mean, more and more people are willing to do the backcountry type
Yeah.
stuff. So that, but having said that, I mean, there's areas that I've elk hunted and you could go for, a backcountry hunt and not ever see another person. And now those exact same areas, you'll see 3 or 4 camps in there and not as many elk, but they're still there.
yeah, one area I hunted for a lot of years, I remember an outfitter actually put in a drop camp, and literally right in the middle of some of the best habitat. It was a great camping spot, but it was also a great bedding area, and there was water there and everything for the elk. And
Right.
I remember that year I left. I saw one elk, passed up a bull opening day because I figured I'm coming back for a week, got back in there, and I saw quite a bit of elk when my first hunt there. And I went back in there, and there was a camp right in that spot where I'd shot an elk a couple of years before, like right in that, within 50 yards where I shot that bull. And the next morning I got up and I saw one cow. And I watched them guys, trying to go up a drainage from the bottom with the wind blowing up from the bottom.
Of course.
Going right up in the canyon. And I just looked at that and went, yeah, I think I'm out of here. I'm going to go somewhere else. I ended up going back the last day of the season. I didn't even think I was going to even get to hunt in there anymore. And went back. I got there, I think, midnight the last day of the season that night before, and left my truck for a few hours, walked in there. Camp was still in there and hadn't packed it out, and ended up finding a bull and shot a bull like at 1:30 that afternoon. Had to go to work the next day, called a buddy up to come and help me get the bull out, and everything worked out. But in fact, it turned out to be, because I'll never forget, it was a 5x6 bull with devil's horns. and that was the one I passed up. And after I shot that bull, I went up to him as a 5x6 bull with devil's horns.
Yeah, that's
Same
funny.
bull.
That's hilarious.
2 drainages over.
Right? That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.